Hey there, Gaming Outsiders. I'm back this week with CB and Alyssa to talk about the creepiest characters in video games. In news, it sounds like we should expect some price increases for Microsoft next year, and you'll also hear our impressions of some new games, including Atari Mania, Paper Ghost Stories 7 PM, and Marvel Snap. This is the Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to The Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community, which can be found at thegamingoutsider.com. It is Tuesday, November 1st. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining me are my friends. First off, Mr. Lego Master himself, Chris Behrensmeyer.
Hello, friends.
How many hours of your week did you spend putting together Legos this week?
Too many.
Too many.
Yeah, it's
Also joining us, Miss Alyssa White. How you doing, Alyssa?
I'm okay, Scott. How about you?
I am doing all right. I am in the throes of being a teacher, and it's awesome. It's great.
Smiles.
Man.
Smiles for miles.
It's all good.
Fourth graders are the best.
Zach, the young whippersnapper. Hi, I'm Zach. I'm super young and spunky. Is not able to join us this week. That was just a
Is he
dig
the
on him for
youngest? I think Alyssa's
I'm the
younger.
youngest.
I think Alyssa's
See,
the youngest,
you can't do it. He's the
He's
middle
a year
child.
older than me, so I'm the baby.
Zach's the middle child
last
that can
week-
get away with anything.
Last week I was not here, and of course, whenever I'm not here, you guys make fun of how old I am, and I got the old man voice for some.
I don't make fun, but the guys do, and then they make me laugh.
Yes, but you laugh, Alyssa. That's the point.
I can't
you
help
laugh.
it.
I know.
It's because
I
that's
know.
what we like to do. Make Alyssa laugh. Every time Alyssa laughs, it just makes me smile.
Yeah, I agree.
I thought you were going
It
to
is
say
fun
something like
make
an
it
angel gets his wings or something.
No, a devil gets his pitchfork. There you go.
Oh,
There you go.
Because the devils are more fun.
that's true.
All right, well, let's talk about some games that we've been catching up on. CB, you finally got your hands on Brewmaster Brewing Simulator?
And
I thought that was only on PC.
Nope. It's on the Switch and it's also on Xbox now.
Ooh.
Ah, nice. So how is
Hashtag
it?
regrets.
Oh, it's bad,
no.
huh?
It is difficult to control.
Okay.
Ooh.
In terms of, are you actually moving around? I mean, I don't know.
Oh yeah, you live in this really fancy house / cottage thing, but yeah, when you do the Brewmaster Simulator, it's like, oh yes, we're going to teach you how to brew beer. I've brewed one beer so far, but it's like, oh, go to the pantry and get the pot, and you're like, okay, I've got the pot. Okay, put it in the sink, fill it up with water. You put it in the sink, turn the water on. It's not filling with water. And it gives you no troubleshooting to figure out what's going on.
So what, do you gotta go look at the plumbing or something like that?
No. The water's running. Pot's not filling up.
Is there a hole in the pot?
No, you have to take the lid off.
Oh my goodness, it's one of those?
Yeah.
Okay.
It gets better.
Okay.
Oh, we need you to put 21 liters of water in this pot.
Uh-huh.
Not 21.5. Not 20.5. 21. And it doesn't
Okay.
stop at 21. It's
So
like,
what do you-
look, I'm at it's a 25-liter pot and I've got 30 liters of water in there somehow. Cool. What do I do? Oh, start pouring it out. Pour. Oh, cool. Now you're at 20. Fill the pot back up. Make sure to take the lid off. Oh, now you're at
Does it
20
take the lid off every time?
Yes.
Why? Who's
Why
putting a
is this
lid back
character
on when
putting the lid back on?
Because if I'm lifting the pot up to pour the pot out, I better put the lid on to control the water rate.
This sounds like an exercise in frustration.
Oh, it is. It is. It's like, oh, you want to speed up time? Cool. You have to. It says use the left trigger button to speed up time with your stopwatch. Okay. Hold left trigger button. Oh, you're in build mode now. Okay, what did I do wrong? Oh, you have to double tap the left trigger to move to your stopwatch, bypassing the build mode, but it doesn't tell you to do that. So after 5 minutes of frustration I figured that out.
So are you actually learning how to brew beer? I mean, is there any education to this? Or
Oh
is
yeah,
it
there
just-
is. But it's just the controls are awful.
I've never played a game where you had to where a single trigger pull would do something, but a double trigger pull would do something different.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
again,
weird.
like I said, it's bizarre controls.
There's 16 buttons on a freaking Xbox
I
controller.
know, man. I know. So I'm just like, okay, this is so. But I did manage to brew a beer, and this is where it actually does get kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Is when it brews a beer. It gives you like a report card on your beer, and it's like, oh yeah, because you brewed it like a little, you decided to like leave it on the stove for a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
It like gives you like all the breakdowns, like, oh, what is it, extra malty? Is it a little more bitter?
Mm-hmm.
You added, instead of 150 grams of sugar, you added 200 grams of sugar, so it's a little bit more sweet. And like the breakdown on the notes of the beer, like when you're putting your recipe together, gets pretty intense.
Okay. Can you have like happy accidents? You know, where like you do something wrong, but it winds up having a positive effect?
Yeah.
I've heard that like that's how IPAs became a thing. I don't know if this is certain, but I've heard that like the reason IPAs even became a beer at all was they were transporting beer like overseas back in the day, and they would just load it with hops as a preservative. And it required so much hops to preserve the beer that it caused that bitter taste, and it wound up becoming a thing. So I'm like in a brewmaster video game. I'm wondering if you can have those happy accidents, or if it, how deep this game goes.
It goes pretty deep. Like it's, I'm still very early on. I've managed to brew one so far, but they give you like different types of hops, different types of yeast, and depending on how you combine them, you can do different things with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I think it gets a little too in depth early on, because like it gives you like, you're like, oh, I'm gonna pick like a crystalline hop,
mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
and it just goes like this like fact sheet that it's like, oh, well, if you put it with this, you're gonna have this. If you're gonna do this, you're gonna get this. So it just gets super intense.
Lots of experimentation.
Yeah, there's a lot of experimentation. Like if you are like diehard, like I want to brew my own beer at home, this would be a phenomenal tool, because it's going to give you like theoretical possibilities.
Okay.
You
I
can
don't
also
really have a whole lot of desire to brew my own, but
yeah, but you can also design your own labels.
Oh,
That's cool.
And name your own beers. So
very cool.
I took a picture of it. I'll send it to you later, just because you're gonna be like, yeah, this is very much a you thing. But yeah, it's interesting. Would I recommend it for the casual person? Definitely not.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be a very niche market.
All right, that's kind of a bummer, because like just looking at it, it looked like it was going to be easy to get into, but it doesn't sound like it at all.
Yeah, I'm hoping with a little more play, it'll kind of even itself out. You're like, okay, there's ways to like shortcut.
Right. Well, as for me, I am batching it up this week. My wife is out of town at a conference in Florida, and so I've got the house to myself. But most of my gaming time, I was a little selfish this week, as I was last week, and I played a game for me, just for me. I actually finished Dead Space 2, which is one of my favorite games of all time. I just forgot how good that game is. It is outstanding. And I know that the remake of the original is coming up, but this game still looks just fine, man. And it's just an Xbox 360 game. It still looks so good. I heard last week that Alyssa has never played a Resident Evil game, never played a Silent Hill game. Have you played a Dead Space game?
Back this bus up. What?
I've played most of the Resident Evil games. I just haven't played 4 or Code Veronica.
Oh, okay. So
I haven't played any Silent Hill.
Haven't played any Silent. Have you played any Dead Space though?
I've played all 3.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
Cool.
I was gonna be like, ooh, we need to stop recording. Things need to happen.
I'm really excited though. This got me super amped to go back, or not go back, but this March, is it that the remake of the original comes out?
Yeah.
Dead Space 2 though, I know I've talked about it a lot the last time I was on, so I won't go too in depth, but Zach is completely right. This game just never lets off the gas. It is just constantly go, 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 and I kind of miss that in a game. I miss these 8 to 12 hour experience games where it's just constantly awesome. Like there's just so many cool things. They brought back the 0G stuff that they did from the original, but this one they just compounded on it. Like instead of it being, just shooting from one place to the other, now you actually have full 3D range of movement. That was awesome. There's no turret sequences, so that was great. Isaac has a voice in this game. The psychological aspect of it is awesome. There's not really like traditional boss fights. You do have some huge enemies, and I don't know, just the fact that you can pick up things and hurl them as weapons is great. Shooting the limbs off of necromorphs feels great. Learning more about the history of everything, and then that stinger at the end of the credits where you think it's over, and then all of a sudden, oh, well, that facility is gone. I guess we're just going to have to work on the others, meaning that there is multiple markers out there, which, at the time just kind of expanded like the possibilities for what the Dead Space franchise could be.
What?
And
that is one of the few games, like even when you're in a safe area, like you are on edge because you're just like,
oh yeah,
you never know. And I love,
because I remember in the first one you could even be like in the store or in a pause menu or whatever, and like stuff could just still come out at you.
Yeah, like the game keeps you on edge, and when you play through it multiple times, like every now and then, like a door will bust open, and a necromorph comes through. Like next playthrough, that door don't break open. Yeah. It's somewhere else.
And I've said this so many times in the past, but the section where you go back to the Ishimura, and it's like you're seeing the same place that you were before, but everything is all like taped up and covered in plastic. And like there was a crime scene that was here, and the whole thing has been investigated, and you keep waiting for something to jump out at you, and for a good portion of that, nothing happens. And it's just unnerving. It almost makes it worse. Like, just jump out at me so I can get it over with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Brilliant game.
Why do you think for the longest time, though, I have complained at you so much to play Alien Isolation?
I tried Alien Isolation.
You need to take another crack at it.
Yeah, and it's on Game Pass, so I probably should. Maybe next Halloween, because I've got a slew of things I want to play right now. But I wanted to play Dead Space because it was
it fits in that
season.
Perfect window where it's like less than 15 hours.
I've heard it's 20. I've heard that the final third of that game is entirely too long. Yeah, but you have an insatiable love for the Alien franchise, as I do too.
It's not like there's 3 xenomorphs standing behind me right now.
Yeah, man. Anyway, so that's what we've been catching up on. Let's go ahead and jump into the week's news. Couple of new trailers to talk about. I'd like you guys to check out if you get a chance. There is a trailer for a VR game called Hubris that is coming out on December 17th. Oh my God, you need to see this trailer for this game. I cannot believe that a VR game looks that good. I'm not saying this to be hyperbolic, but that looks like the best VR game I've ever seen. I kind of want to experience that just to see if it's for real or not. It's kind of nuts. Also, Motor Doom is a game on Steam that combines Tony Hawk Pro Skater and shooting into a game, and it looks kind of rad. It's very early. It's going to come out next year, but check that out. Also, in other news, Phil Spencer says that the price increases are inevitable. I'm sure we'll talk about that. We've also got PlayStation Plus freebies for November announced, as well as some new games coming to Game Pass. Henry Cavill has been replaced as Geralt in The Witcher on Netflix. And then lastly, just a PSA to everybody, God of War Ragnarok spoilers are out there online, so just be careful what you read, because I know a lot of people are hyped about that game, but be careful for sure. So let's see, you both were here last week. I don't know who to start with, flip a coin or something. Alyssa, let's start with you. Which story would you like to talk about?
Okay, I gotta talk about, because when I saw this news, I was bummed instantly. Henry Cavill, not gonna be Geralt anymore, being replaced with Liam Hemsworth in season 4 of The Witcher. I'm like, they look nothing alike, and they're supposed
Not
to
even
play
the
the
good
same.
Hemsworth.
I know. I could see Chris possibly, but not Liam.
No.
I'm like, oh no, I love Henry Cavill.
Yeah, I want to read the quote from Cavill himself because I thought it was actually pretty classy. He said, "My journey as Geralt of Rivia has been filled with both monsters and adventures, and alas, I will be laying down my medallion and my swords for season 4. As with the greatest of literary characters, I pass the torch with reverence for the first time, spent embodying Geralt and enthusiasm to see Liam's take on this most fascinating and nuanced of men. Liam, good sir, this character has such a wonderful depth to him. Enjoy diving in and seeing what you can find." And then Hemsworth also had a reaction as well. He said, "I may have some big boots to fill, but I'm truly excited to be stepping into the Witcher world." What do you think, CB?
Well, let's take somebody who's an absolute jacked monster and replace him with the skinny boy. Geralt, you've lost so much weight. What have you done?
Your face shape's different too.
Yeah, like, bro, the thing is, Cavill looked like Geralt.
At least
Hemsworth
from the video game, yeah. I don't know what he looked like
Yeah.
in the books, right?
Hemsworth is going to be like, eh.
I don't know how
That's
they're gonna
Liam,
pull off.
Liam is the one from Hunger Games, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the twig. I mean, at least take the good Hemsworth that looks like a jacked monster.
And we're not alone. And I can't complain because I watched the part of the first season of The Witcher, got really addicted to that Bard song that everybody...
Tusk.
Oh, now it's in my
Going
head.
To your Witcher. It's going to be in my head for the rest of the week now. But I'm part of the problem. I didn't watch the rest of season 1. I didn't watch season 2 or season 3. I don't even think season 3 is out yet. Is it?
Yeah, it's
not
not
yet.
out yet.
I have watched all of it.
I have as well.
Twice. I love it.
I've
Here's-
heard it's really good. I just, for whatever reason, I couldn't stick
Really
with
good.
it.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Um,
But
here,
the audience reaction to this news is really, really poor.
pissed.
Yeah, everybody
Um,
is not happy.
There's another reason why I'm pissed.
Okay.
First off, you have Henry Cavill, a man that loves, eats, sleeps, breathes video games, video
He sure
game
does.
lore. Liam Hemsworth, the clueless kid. Like
I don't know how much into games he gets.
I don't either, but every time I stare at him, he looks like a lost puppy. Just, huh?
The Liam
I just need to
Hemsworth
hear-
slander.
I just need to hear him to sell me on this character. I need to hear him go, Because
And that's the problem. He doesn't have the voice. He doesn't have the mannerisms. Doesn't have the look. Doesn't have the build. Bro, like, you have so many strikes against you that it's...
I hate to say it. I
I
kind
think
of
the show's dead in the water.
that season 4 may not even happen because just the reaction is so poor. Like people are taking this news so bad that I could see it affecting the viewership of season 3 because people
Yeah.
are like, why am I going to even bother?
Yeah,
You know what I
because
mean?
Yeah.
at this point in time, there's no point in getting vested, especially if there's going to be a cliffhanger.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I can't fault Cavill because
Well,
the dude
Be
was
careful what you say here.
the dude was just handed like everything that he wanted.
Mhm.
Like, he's back as Superman. He's going to be doing House of Dragons. Like,
I
and
think that's
not
just
Oh, I didn't know.
speculation.
I didn't know he was
No.
doing House of Dragons.
no, it's not speculation.
It's not?
There's way too much heat coming from that camp right now.
Oh, okay.
But like the fact that the DC universe is like, yeah, we're trying to fix things, and we have James Gunn now, and
Which is so weird, by the way.
yeah, I know. Which we all kind of saw it coming when he was like, yeah, I'm gonna come back for Guardians 3 and deuces.
Yeah.
But Henry Cavill has openly said he loves playing Superman. It's one of his favorite roles to do. And I love Man of Steel.
I mean, is that a spoiler? I don't know. Like,
Man of
I don't know.
Steel?
no, him
I have not said
No.
anything about what you are talking about, sir. You spoiled
It
that.
wouldn't be a spoiler. I mean, The Rock announced it. He announced it. Everyone's seen.
Yeah, but the fact that like
That's what I was saying. Be careful.
I said I love Man of Steel. The first movie was not
Right.
saying anything beyond that.
Yeah.
I mean, when they redid the Snyder cut, I absolutely loved the difference.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Mhm.
I mean, I did not like the Whedon one. So, I mean, props, man. Henry Cavill, love you. Do your thing. But congrats, you just killed like the one good video game show
Right.
that is out there.
Well, and I keep hearing rumblings that part of the reason he's stepping away is he didn't like the direction that they were going with it. Because, like you
I heard
mentioned
that as
earlier,
well.
Chris, he's a massive gamer, and he actually loves the books that these
Mhm.
games are based on. And you know, I say this all the time, but I feel like the suits get in the way of making stuff that gamers want from shows like this. And so I wonder if they were trying to do that again, to take it in a direction that just doesn't
It's
adhere to the source material, which
it's
they
not
always
just
do.
movies.
That's what I
don't
heard as well, that Henry wasn't happy with the way that the show was diverging from the book storyline, which I have not read any of the books.
Me either.
So I don't know how that goes. I don't know what's changed, but apparently a lot of things were changed in season 2, and he just wasn't. They said he wasn't happy with the direction they were going in.
Mhm.
But that's everything. The suit's like, hey, we think we know what everyone outside of Hollywood will like.
Right.
And they keep getting it wrong.
Sure feels that way.
So sooner or
Ah.
later, like, I just want all of Hollywood and video game makers and like basically every form of entertainment media to just go on strike and be like, no, shut up, sit down, and just give us the money.
Well, hold that thought, because there's something else I want to piggyback off on. Remind me in a second, but there's one more thing I want to talk about with The Witcher before moving on. And, because we talked about Henry Cavill possibly not being happy with the direction the show is going, but he's also going to be busy. You talked about a couple of things that it could be a scheduling thing, but we don't really know the full reason. But to kind of piggyback on this whole story with The Witcher, did you guys see that CD Projekt Red actually announced that they are remaking the original Witcher,
I did.
which is only currently available on PC. I actually own it on Steam, but I can't play it on a Mac. I don't know why I own it on Steam if I can't play it. But they're building it from the ground up. So it could potentially be a massive game like Witcher 3 was. And I kind of I liked Witcher 3, but it was just so big, man. It was so big. Can
It
we
was
just
really
get
big.
like a nice 15-hour Witcher game? I don't know how long the
No.
original was.
No, that's not possible.
No. I played the second one. I haven't played the first one because, again, PC only. The second
Yeah.
one's definitely shorter than 3, but it's still
Oh,
a
yeah.
long
It's
game.
still
I think
a-
it was about
still a meaty
50
boy.
hours.
I
And it was
dabbled.
hard.
It was hard. Like, that combat system was difficult.
Actually, if you bought it physically, it came with like a mini strategy guide. And I had
Yeah.
to use that until I got used to all the mechanics of the game because it was so hard.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts in that one, but the story seemed really cool. I actually was more drawn to the main story of that game than I was Witcher 3.
I
Witcher
was as
3, I
well.
was drawn to the side quests, especially that
Mhm.
Baron quest at the beginning. But so I thought that was pretty cool. But anyway, the real thing that I wanted to kind of tangentially discuss with this, speaking of TV shows and movies based on video games, I'm surprised, CB, you didn't bring this up, but those first screenshots of the Fallout TV show appeared this week.
Shh.
Why am I saying why am I being shushed?
Because I want to have hope.
Oh,
It looks good, man.
I know, especially because my boy Walter. Oh,
Goggins.
if Walter Goggins is the lone survivor, be still my heart.
It really looks like they're doing it justice to what Fallout should look like in a live action.
You know what would be the best
deal.
thing in the world?
What's that?
If Walter Goggins was like the lone survivor.
Isn't it Walton
And-
Goggins?
yeah, Walton.
Walton Goggins, if he's like the lone survivor and Timothy Oliphant is like a
Yes.
Nick Valentine's type character.
Oh,
That'd be incredible.
Yeah, see, just right there. Like everybody's like sold.
yeah. I
Just
need to go
put-
watch Justified.
just put those two together, and I'm like, I can watch anything.
Yeah.
I could watch those two watch paint dry.
You could watch them watch paint dry. All right. All right. Moving on.
Yeah.
Moving on. CB, what story would you like to talk about now that we spent a half an hour on The Witcher?
Well, first off, hubris. Mwah!
Yeah, right?
Proof that VR is here.
I look at that trailer and I go, that's got to be just like not what it actually looks like in VR, right? It can't look that good in VR.
Really what it can look like.
Man.
Because keep in mind, everything that we've seen for VR right now is still early stuff. People are still trying to figure it out. Because that's some intense coding, man. So, like, the fact that finally people are like, yeah, let's push the boundaries. I'm excited.
Seriously, everybody, go watch that trailer. You almost won't believe that if you didn't see the floating hands in front of you.
Yeah.
You might not think it's a VR game.
It does look really good.
It looks shockingly good.
You say that you didn't think that, but keep in mind, one of the best VR games out there, Blood and Truth, was on the PSVR.
VR, yeah.
Which was like the super dumbed down version of VR.
That did look pretty good. That played pretty well, too.
Yeah. So, hubris looks great. Moving on. Because we're going to talk about it. Phil Spencer said some things.
He did say some things.
Quite a few things, actually.
And we've all kind of been expecting it, so I'm not really... Like, PlayStation did it. PlayStation just did it at the wrong time, and at least Phil Spencer is like, announcing, hey, price changes are going to come. We don't know when, but things are going to happen.
Right, and he wasn't specific about what was gonna change. Why don't you read the quote?
So, he recently was at the Wall Street Journal event in Southern California. I do think at some point we'll have to raise the prices on certain things, but going into this holiday, we thought it was more important to maintain the prices.
So good news. Going to the holiday, nothing's going to change. Get your stuff now.
He said, like, I was just reading an article earlier today that currently, did you know that Xbox loses $100 to $200 per Xbox sold?
I believe it. But
I do as well.
They don't make their money on hardware. That's been the MO for video game console manufacturing for forever.
But keep in mind, that's the hardware. A lot of the software is not even theirs.
Right.
So, like,
when they get a cut of it, right?
They get a cut, but it still hurts. We all know Microsoft makes their money off Game Pass, right?
Oh yeah.
We know that.
Do they? How much? Because look what they bought to be able to put some of those games on Game Pass.
Yes, you say look what they bought, but I mean the one day you and I sat down and like ran some basic numbers.
Yeah,
based upon subscriber.
Staggering.
It's like they make like over 300 million a month.
Right.
So it's a little gross.
Well, and here's the thing: is I don't have a problem with raising the price of Game Pass. I say that as the guy that's not paying for Game Pass right now. So, but it's still going to be the best deal in gaming, even at what is it, $25 a month if you get Ultimate?
Oh, it's 15.
It's 15.
15
$14.99
a month is all. Okay,
that's why we were saying like they could bump it up to 25.
Yeah, 25. I still feel like it would be a great deal.
And honestly, flip side of the coin here, I still think that if PlayStation decided to add their first-party titles to theirs, I would pay for it too.
And that was going to be my next point, is I know we sound kind of hypocritical because we were criticizing Sony for doing the same thing, where they were talking about raising the price of consoles specifically, in certain markets, not the U.S. market, because they didn't want to hurt their PR as much. But, this is a little bit different to me because, in my opinion, Game Pass from the onset has been underpriced.
Oh, yes.
I feel like we've been getting away with something for a while now. And PlayStation, on the other hand, I feel like their service is completely overpriced, considering you're not getting day one launches and you're paying that extra subscription to have demos, basically.
Yeah. I'm telling you right now, I would drop $25 a month for Game Pass, and I would drop another $25 a month for PlayStation if they put new releases, which they make.
Yeah.
Like even if it was a month after the launch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would still be okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the opposite with some things. Like don't you? If you have the EA one on Game Pass, don't you get access to Madden like a week early or something like that?
Yeah.
So, even a month after, like you said, it would. I don't have a problem waiting a month to play a game as long as I don't have to review it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I really want Sony to just kind of be like, hey, look at the current trends. Let's figure out a way to be a little more competitive on that side of it.
Right.
Granted, yes, PlayStation sell like hotcakes, but I was actually just talking with one of my coworkers the other day. They really don't have that many exclusives anymore. Horizon going to PC. Like the show on Xbox. They have some coming, but currently within the next year?
God of War is the big one coming out.
Yeah.
Okay, there's one. Name some more.
The pretty big one. Like Returnal was one from
I know, but I'm saying from today, 1 year from now, how many PlayStation exclusives are coming that you can think of?
Spider-Man 2
off the top of your head. Okay, now you got 2.
I cannot think of the name of that one that was on the Unreal 5 engine that we saw. I'm embarrassed I cannot remember the name of it. But see, it was a female protagonist that was flying around.
I know, but this is what we were talking about at work. Was Sony is doing a very poor job of exclusives. I can't remember them.
Yeah, I mean, God of War is on everybody's tongue right now, but I feel like the ones that are selling best are available on both consoles right now. I mean, there's nothing that is a system seller on the Xbox, and there's nothing. I mean, I haven't played God of War, but it sounds from early impressions that is a reason to own a PS5.
We're talking about exclusives that are coming for Xbox that are not even in production yet.
Right. Plus, keep in mind, God of War Ragnarok is also available on the PS4. So it's not really a PS5 game,
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't seem as much as they preach. We have the best exclusives. What are they?
Mm-hmm.
Because I can't.
I'm also not the big Sony guy. So the fact that I can't come up with it off the top of my head,
I can't either. I can just think of those two you mentioned.
Yeah. So I hate to sound like I'm dogging Sony just because my fingers on the pulse more with Microsoft just because that's my platform of choice.
My coworker, and the reason why we got into this whole conversation is he is a diehard Sony guy, and he could name 2, and it was God of War and Spider-Man.
Right.
And I'm like, bro, that's it? Because, but Starfield, that's just as big.
Mm-hmm.
So, and granted, I still hate. Let me just reiterate this. I absolutely hate console exclusives.
Mm-hmm.
I think they are dumb. I hate that there are a large population of people out there that are not allowed to play a game just because of the type of hardware that they own.
I'm not that selfish that I want other people that are exclusive to Sony to not be able to play it.
Hang on, because I'm not done with this yet. Not only am I mad at Xbox about this, I'm mad at PlayStation about this. I'm mad at Nintendo about this.
Mm-hmm.
I hate things being locked behind a paywall, especially Mario. Understand, that is Nintendo exclusive property, but when you have things that are like Spider-Man, things that, or the fact that Elder Scrolls 6 will be locked behind a paywall if you only own, same with Fallout. I want everyone to enjoy things that everyone else in the past has had the ability to play.
Right.
It makes me angry. Rant over.
Kind of getting back to the main part of this conversation, I want to know what you guys think about, because again, we don't know what a price increase means, if it means hardware, if it means software, if it means Game Pass. But we complained, obviously, about the price increase for Sony. I want to know what you guys would feel about a price increase for consoles. Does that make sense? I don't, because I don't. I can't imagine that Xbox comes out and says the S is now going to be $350,
No.
and the Series X is going to be $550. I can't see that happening this far into the console generation.
No, I don't see that at all. I could actually see an increase on controller price.
Sure. I mean, they already went up. Aren't they $80 now?
I don't know. I haven't had to buy one in a while.
Like, I'm like, at this point, just go ahead and give me the Elite. If I'm paying that much for a controller.
So, like, I can understand that. Increasing console prices, if it was a temporary thing, but like, is the chip shortage still a thing anymore?
They're saying it is, but
I doubt that. But
no.
we've all known that the price increase for games has been coming.
To play devil's advocate a little bit, I want to talk about some of the sales numbers with Xbox as well, because they have made more money over the past 3 months than it ever has during a different Q1 period in the company's 20-year history. So they're still not hurting for cash. But business is business. They are in the business of making money. I mean, how do you feel about that? If you're having this best profit, and we're in a, economic state that we are, is it the right thing to do to increase prices on all this stuff?
Yes and no. Is it
because everybody else is doing it?
Is it scummy? Yes. But you also have to pay employees.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's true. And Microsoft does take care of their own, it sounds like. So
yeah.
Last thing I'll say about the whole Phil Spencer thing is that he had some negative things to say about the metaverse as well. If you remember, we talked briefly about how Meta. It's going to take me a while to get used to calling it Meta instead of Facebook. But you know how they talked about the integration with like with online meetings and stuff like that. And he said, "Quote: Today it's a poorly built video game. Building a metaverse that's like a living room is not how I want to spend my time. What I see in the metaverse world is that we're at the early stage, and this will evolve." I just wanted to throw that out there because you don't see Phil Spencer throw a lot of shade, and that seemed pretty shade-filled.
Yeah. It seems weird because have you guys talked? We've talked about Game Pass coming to the Oculus, correct?
I don't think we have on this show.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, because that's coming. Like that.
I don't want to play my Xbox on an Oculus. Like if it's just an Xbox game, I just want to play it on my TV.
Yeah, it's still kind of cool.
It's cool, but I'm not going to use it. I mean, it's just like having original Xbox games available to play on my Xbox Series X is awesome. I did it once.
But as far as the metaverse thing though goes, I already played that game. It's called Rec Room.
Yeah.
And it wasn't very fun.
Right. I don't know. I feel like if you want to get in a meeting with somebody, you're just going to use Meets or Zoom or Skype or something. Like that's like how people want to interact. I don't want to interact virtually with your avatar. You know what I mean?
No, not at all. Because I'm sorry, man. Like if I ever had to go to a company meeting on like Metaverse, who knows what the people have sideloaded on their individual quests?
Right.
So they're sitting there like drawing all over the room.
Yeah, it's just going to be chaos. I mean, is it going to be a thing where like you go to a meeting, like say you're doing it for work? You know what I mean? Is everybody going to like have different versions of their avatar? Like when I'm gaming, I got this, you remember like when Xbox had the little avatars?
They still do.
Yeah.
Well, and like everyone would just like do the weirdest, craziest combinations of everything. Are you going to be expected to have a professional one when you go to a professional meeting, or you know what I mean? Like how much self-express
watch that happen?
Yeah.
Just be like, oh yeah, and here's our HR coordinator and it's a giant naked flying dragon or something. Should be like, all right, today we're going to talk about sexual harassment.
Naked flying dragon. Real quick, moving on, I wanted to talk about these freebies, mostly because the Xbox ones on Game Pass dropped today, and I was kind of blown away by it. But also, PlayStation Plus for November announced their games Neo 2, as well as Lego Harry Potter Collection, and then Heavenly Bodies. Those are going to be probably available right now, actually, if you were a PlayStation Plus subscriber. And then for Xbox, there's a long list of games here, but there was two that stood out to me. One is Vampire Survivors, which we know is on PC, but it's coming to consoles. Hopefully more people will check that one out. Now CB can actually play it and see how awesome that game is because
I can play it as well.
Doubtful.
You have a PC, don't you, Alyssa?
I do, but I prefer playing on console.
Oh, I do too. That game is so addicting. But the kicker for me was Return to Monkey Island, which just came out on Switch, and I paid $25 for it, and now it's coming to console.
Because I'm pretty sure I warned you about that.
Yeah, you did. Shut up. And somebody on Discord, I'm going to have to look it up and see who that was, actually made a comment about, boy, they sure are training you just to not buy games,
They really
at launch.
Yeah.
Because like why would it was Bill Gardner that said this. He's like, they're actually training you just to not buy these games. And I'm kind of like, you know what? You're kind of right. Like, with as many games are out there at every week, and you're going to see the list we're going to have here in a minute of new games coming out. There's always something to play. There's not a need to play something at launch anymore. So you might as well wait for something, give it a month or two, and see if you're going to save $25. Because
silly boy,
it's crazy. Anyway. Return to Monkey Island is coming November 8th. I'm so little into Return of Monkey Island, I'm just going to wait and play it on Game Pass so that I can, get some achievements.
See, Phil Spencer, he got you again.
Yeah. And then, what else? Vampire Survivors. I'm so deep into that game on my Steam Deck, but play that one, we get some achievements. I will start from scratch. That game is too fun to not go in and grind some achievements. That game is so good. There's a lot of other ones in here. Check out the list. A couple Walking Dead games that I've never finished are on there. Football Manager, Pentiment, The Legend of Tiending, Ghost Song, Somerville, Gungrave Gore, and Warhammer 40k Darktide. Looks pretty cool. Also, this God of War Ragnarok thing, the spoilers are out there, and the reason that those spoilers are out there is because some retailers sold copies of the game 2 weeks before the game came out.
Oh no, they broke Street Date.
They broke Street Date.
They're not the only ones. Sony broke their own Street Date.
Yeah, they shipped out a PS5 console that was the God of War edition of it to somebody by mistake.
There was more than one.
Yeah, I believe it. Man, you really want to make some money on eBay. That's where you could go and make some money on eBay right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you just shoot yourself in the foot.
And Cory Barlog went on Twitter. He's obviously pissed. He says that he understands why developers put installer only on physical discs. So
somebody brought that up this week, and that pisses me off.
I knew it would. That's why I had to bring it up.
I want to punch some people. What? Oh God, what game was it? And somebody like data mined the disk, and it was like, oh look, this disk that can hold like 50 gigabytes of data had 74 megabytes of data. It was just an installer for a digital download.
Right.
Don't put out a physical disk if the almost just started going off on a swearing rant there.
I mean, that's what they did on PC for how many years? That's all PC games were when you bought it off the shelf was an installer disc, right?
No, it was not.
No, you had to have the little code inside the book to be able to access it.
That is a CD key. That is different. An installer literally goes, hey, this is a physical copy of this. Cue the server to download the whole game to the Xbox.
Okay, so they did have the game on the discs and the PC
game was on the disc, but to unlock, like there was actually a code, which is why certain CD keys could work for multiple copies of a game.
Mm-hmm.
Like that pisses me off. because
I mean,
now
it's-
that physical game doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
So if I
mean,
buy it,
those physical PC games don't mean anything right now either.
some of them you can actually still download and play off the discs.
How?
But
you
if
don't
I'm
have the
buying
code?
a physical, there's websites that will give you the CD keys.
Oh, okay.
But if I'm buying a physical disc and the game is not on that disc, it is not a physical game. It is a placeholder box.
Yeah. I mean, that's
That
what they're doing with Switch
pisses-
games. Don't they do
No.
that where you can buy a Switch game and it has a code to download it right inside the case?
But Nintendo actually puts on those ones no physical media download code only, and it's right on the front of the case.
But in this case, how else do you protect yourself from stuff like this happening? Because
Because all
listening
these,
to Corey, it's not even like a monetary thing for him. He's not worried about not making money or whatever. He's worried about fans of the game getting spoiled because people are jerks and will get this stuff and I got this information before anybody else and I'm going to put it out there and ruin your day.
oh, you mean like the fact that all these consoles have to be online only now and have to have constant updates from their servers? So when I put the physical disc in and it tries to contact the server, it won't allow me to play the game?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, that's more of a thing. Because then later on, when you decide to shut those servers down, you can put out a physical, like a software patch saying this game no longer requires access to the server to be played.
Okay. I guess, yeah. But
It just
I don't know.
pisses me off.
I don't know
that
what the answer is because I don't want to give people the opportunity to be a-holes when something like this happens.
people are going to find a way. People are always going to find a way.
Yeah, you're probably right. I don't. Even if it is locked down, they're going to find a way, right?
It just makes
Yeah.
me angry if you're going to make a physical copy of a game that I'm going to buy the physical copy. So eventually later on down the road, if I want to go back and play this game,
Mhm.
now you're basically making it so I cannot, because this is.
I mean, I
not
know
a
you love
game.
physical media, dude, and I love physical media too. You know, as a low tier collector compared to you. But you can't argue that we're
But then
heading that way,
don't-
right?
But then don't make it a physical copy.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Just make it digital.
That's
only.
what's pissing me off. If you're going to make a physical copy, it needs to be a physical copy.
Well, to be clear, he's not saying that they're doing that with God of War Ragnarok. He's just saying he understands why companies do that.
I know, but it makes me angry that there are companies now that are doing that. It is
Mhm.
false advertising, and I hope they get sued
Get sued.
because you put out a game that is not actually on the disc.
Well, I mean, yeah, because you can't like sell it to a friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or I can't. So Sony, like, oh yeah, this is how we loan games to friends. You can't do that.
Yeah, I would imagine that would be a Sony. That would have to go up the chain, and Sony would have to approve that, right? That's not going to be like a Cory Barlog can make that
Yeah.
call, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you're gonna put out a physical copy, the damn game better be on the thing.
I'm with you. But I'm also of the
Mhm.
mind that we're gonna physical media is going to go away
I
In the
know
next-
that's coming.
in next
But
5 years, 10 years.
That's why I like my physical media. So if I can ever go back and play the stuff that I actually own and paid for to have a physical copy, it better be there.
All right, well, let's go ahead before we get to the games that we've been playing. I want to remind everybody about the Gaming Outsiders Patreon page. We actually got a new patron today. Ethan Langford signed back up, so thank you so much for that. We really do appreciate it. If you'd like to get some bonus content and help support the show, because yes, we got to pay for this. Without you guys, we got to pay for it all out of our own pocket. And any extra money that we get, we actually do for giveaways. And we actually gave away a copy of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 this past week. And congratulations to Mr. Scott Bors, who won that copy. And I got to give a shout out to Scott because he doesn't even have the game yet. It's being sent to him from Zach. And I was reading a thread on social media when he won it. Before he even has the game, he's already promised to send it to somebody else. I cannot remember. I think it was Nick. It might have been Nick Brown is getting the copy of the game, and then Maurice Keano is getting it after that. So they're already like doing this thing where they're sharing the game, even though he doesn't have the game. I just freaking love this community that they're doing that. So kudos to Scott for offering that up before he even has the game in hand. So And also congratulations to him for winning that. But also, if you'd like to help support the show, go to patreon.com/thegocast. You can sign up for different tiers, and different tiers will get you different levels of bonus episodes. And we've got some bonus episodes coming, I promise you. We're getting them caught up. And I'm also in the middle of working on a new trade-off episode with Kevin. We are both playing... Kevin is playing one of my favorite JRPGs of all time, and I'm playing Kevin's actual favorite game of all time. How's that for a tease? I'm in the midst of doing that. Hopefully going to put in some game time for that. So again, patreon.com/thegocast. Let's go ahead now and jump into the new games that we've been playing. Before we get into the games, we got 3 of them to talk about this week. Got some new trailers to mention. Endling Extinction is Forever coming to PS5, Xbox Series X and S on November 3rd. How to Say Goodbye, Switch, PC, iOS, Android, November 3rd. The Chant, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PC, November 3rd. The Entropy Center, PS5, PS4, Series X and S, Xbox One, and PC, November 3rd. It looks like a Portal-esque game. Looks outstanding. WRC Generations, PS5, PS4, Series X and S, Xbox One, and PC, November 3rd. Space Tale, Every Journey Leads Home on Switch and PC, November 3rd. Ghost Song, previously mentioned it, coming to Game Pass as well. PS5, PS4, Series X and S, Xbox One, Switch, and PC, November 3rd. Demon Throttle, you know what that is, CB. Didn't you pre-order that one on Switch?
I have it already.
You have it already? All right. Demon Throttle on Switch. November 4th. Harvestella on Switch and PC, November 4th. And finally, It Takes Two is coming to Switch on November 4th. CB, which of these titles? Obviously, you're going to play Demon Throttle. I don't even know what it is, though.
No, I won't play Demon Throttle.
Oh, you're keeping it unsealed?
It's the game that's going to be physical only.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's no digital version of that game.
So you're not going to play it?
They only made so many copies.
Oh, games are meant to be played, CB. They're meant to be opened and enjoyed.
I know. So I might just have to buy another copy.
Yeah, good luck, right?
Yeah. No, I want to play The Chant. Really?
Okay.
It looks creepy.
It's weird this game coming like that, a creepy game coming out after Halloween.
I know. It always it feels weird, but yeah, I want to play that. I might buy It Takes Two and play it on the Switch.
Just play it on Xbox, man.
It's been downloaded on my Xbox for 6 months.
You already have it. Why would you buy another copy of it on Switch?
I don't know.
Who's going to play it with you?
I
Is
don't
AJ
know.
going to play with you?
Nobody wants to play the game with me. It makes me sad.
I will play the game with you, man. I can't this Saturday because where I'm going to be, the internet sucks. But you need to play that game. It's so freaking good.
I know.
Alyssa, what about you?
I'm definitely interested in The Chant as well. It just looks spooky, and I'm all for that.
All right. For me, The Entropy Center. I was so angry yesterday because I got a review copy of that game, and I had to give it to David, one of our writers, because he requested it. I've never been so, upset to give somebody a review copy of it for a game because I want to play that game so bad, but I'm too behind on reviews to take on another one, so I had to be the adult and take it, so I can't wait to hear what he thinks of that game. So there you go. But moving on.
Adult?
I have to be an adult and just take it instead of taking on more than I can handle, dude. I got to say no sometimes. It's very difficult for me, okay? Shut up. CB, you have been playing Atari Mania on Switch. This seemed like a natural game for you to check out because of your love for retro games. But correct me if I'm wrong, this is not just a collection of old games. This looks like WarioWare meets Atari. Is that an apt description?
Different.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm loving this, by the way.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So you are the caretaker, and you are essentially the janitor of the Atari vault.
Oh.
Okay.
Which
you're dusting the Yar's Revenge copies?
Well, you say that, but you actually do go around and sweep up dust piles.
Okay, that sounds awesome.
There's little things like that which lead to collectibles later on.
Yeah.
But as you are cleaning, you notice a pile of dead pixels.
Okay.
These dead pixels essentially start eating hang on, I got to back up for a second. So while you're working in this Atari vault, all the Atari characters also work in the Atari vault. They are entertainers.
Okay.
So there's Millie the Millipede and like Bentley Bear from Crystal Castles and like all these characters that are walking
It's like
around.
a Wreck-It Ralph situation.
It is.
Okay.
But this pile of dead pixels starts eating characters and some of the games and mashes them together.
Oh, okay.
So you have to then dive into the pile of dead pixels and essentially fight the pixels with these like mashed up games to then get to the like every time you go into one, there's like a series of mini games that is like 10 or 11 stages long. And they take the games and they mix them together like Breakout mixed with Circus.
Like with the little trampoline or a teeter-totter thing? Okay.
And so they mix those up and you basically have to like beat these little mini games to advance to the next, to the next, to the next. And then at the end, one of these dead pixels forms into like a little mini boss. And you have to defeat the mini boss inside the Atari games. So
it's kind of clever.
It is.
I am loving this because then you find out later on that these dead pixels are being brought into the world by an Atari character who's upset over the fact that they've been doing this for 40 years and they want to change their life.
A disgruntled Atari character from the 70s.
Yeah, dude, I'm digging it because as you're going through, you'll beat these and every time you beat one, it unlocks like either an Atari box art or one of the original instruction manuals.
See, that's actually pretty cool because, man, the Atari era was some of the best box art ever.
Oh, dude, I love it because you can sit there and then look at these Atari box arts and go flip through the manual. And this is back when like the manuals had stories in them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They were thick.
Like, oh yeah, I'm loving it. Especially so there's 10 floors to the Atari Vault. I just entered floor 4.
All right. Is it difficult?
In the beginning, yes. Because you have to like wrap because I'm playing this on the Switch. So you have to wrap your head around like some of the games you have to use the thumbstick. And then like these mini games that are progressing. So as you're playing, like this one will use the thumbstick, but then the next one will use the D-pad for direction.
Does it tell you like, all right, this one you're going to switch controls?
It does, but your brain keeps forgetting that the Switch has a thumbstick and a D-pad on one side.
Okay.
Especially because most of these mini games are only like 15 to 20 seconds long.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's just like survive a Pong battle.
That is like retro game ADD right there. Like
it
just
is
like nonstop. Sounds kind of cool.
It is a charming game. Like you wouldn't think that they could pull a story out of this, but it's actually kind of fun. As the caretaker, there's another thing like every now and then you'll find like a little piece of cheese.
Okay.
And you have to. You can put the cheese next to a mouse hole, and a mouse or a glitch will come out, and you have to battle the mouse in the same style. So it's really cute. Some of your like the things that you get as the caretaker because you start collecting weapons. You have your broom for dust piles. You get bug spray to battle the computer bugs.
Okay.
Like a wrench, a hammer. So as you're finding these, like it's just a fun, unique, fresh little take, and finding a way for younger kids to kind of be able to play some of these older Atari games, but in a way that it's like, oh, this is fun and engaging, because then you can actually like experience the older Atari games.
Mm-hmm.
with it being the 50th anniversary of Atari, like I'm loving this because
Now, I got a question for you because I know you're a lover of retro games, but do you see somebody that didn't grow up playing those Atari games still getting enjoyment out of playing these little mini games because they're not going to have the nostalgia for it?
yeah, because they found a way to splice them together, and it's not like you're staring at really the only parts that are like super pixelated is the actual overworld. When you're playing in the games, it's a little more detailed. You go like the overworld is more like an 8 in between 8 and 16-bit.
Right.
Whereas in the games they feel more 16 to 32-bit.
Okay. But I mean, and to be fair, I think that kids nowadays really don't care about graphics as much as us older generation kind of gets hung up on sometimes. I brought to school, remember those like plug and play Atari 2600s?
Mhm.
You know what I'm talking about? Where you just like plug in with an RCA cable. I brought one of those to school one time and played like bowling with the kids where the pins are literally just squares and the ball is just a bigger square. And the kids loved it. It's just a controller with one button and they had a blast doing it. So
Well, I think it's finally catching on
mhm.
because I know you and I have talked about this before, that the younger generation is discovering these old games.
Mhm.
And the fact that there is a pretty significant challenge to some of them.
Oh yeah.
And I don't want to give credit to a movie that I didn't like as much, but Ready Player One,
Mhm.
to me, feels like that kind of started to kick it off. The fact that there's that, and then a lot of these indie developers are making these 8 and 16-bit stylized games.
Right.
And they're selling.
Yeah. So you recommend this one? Just pretty much anybody check it out?
I do. Like it's an adorable game.
I kind of want to borrow your Switch. I kind of want to borrow your Switch and bring it to school and show it to my students and see what they think.
Yeah, because
like can you just jump into the minigame things, or do you have to go through the story?
Once you've cleared it, you can actually go back and play the minigame sections again.
Like I just want them in a menu. You know what I mean? I just want to just pick one and select it and let a kid go and figure it out.
I don't think that's there.
Okay, so I gotta run around somewhere and find it and do it.
So once you defeat an area, like a little arcade cabinet appears, and you just go to the arcade cabinet, and you're like, "Oh, look, I can do the thing again."
Okay, that's easy enough. As long as all the arcade cabinets are like in one room or something.
They're not.
Oh, great.
There's like one or two per floor.
Cool. Atari Mania on the Switch. That sounds cool. It's coming to Xbox later, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, that one, and PlayStation
Which
also as well.
I want to play it again. So
yeah, well, we'll have to make that happen, man, because that sounds like a lot of fun.
Well, speaking of things on Xbox that I was kind of checking out, I saw a game that Alyssa has been playing that I almost picked up. Paper Ghost Stories, 7 p.m. So why would I want to play a Paper Mario-esque game?
Well, this is a horror game, and it's set in Malaysia, and before the game even starts, it tells you that there will be Malaysian words and phrases used, and that there will be footnotes that tell you what the phrase means or the word means, so you have an idea of what they're saying. And it also kind of tells you that it is going to be in broken English sometimes, just to be aware of that.
Oh, see, that sells me right there. I love English. And
it wasn't a big issue. I noticed it a few times, but it didn't really take away from the story or anything. But it's very charming, but it does succeed in being scary. You're centering on these 3 children that live at this apartment complex, and this woman they call Auntie Fung. I might be mispronouncing that, I'm sorry if I am. She's not really their aunt, but they just call everyone auntie and uncle there. She's telling them a story, but then she gets thirsty and she's asking him, hey, can you go to my apartment and get my water bottle? But the thing is, she lives next door to this family that just moved in, and everyone thinks this family is really creepy. They don't talk to anyone. And you go to her apartment, the door opens a little bit, and you are forced to look inside, and after that, the scary stuff happens. and it's really well done. And
that could go one of two ways in my mind right now, and one of them is messed up. So I don't know.
Yeah, the scary things happen. I'm like, old
I didn't think about it that way.
Scary things happen.
No, actual like horror, like
okay.
It's very effective. It is of the jump scare variety, but every single one got me.
I really want to see how jump scares with a paper stylized work.
Oh, it's very effective because everything is made out of paper in this game. So the monsters are they have a lot of limbs. Their faces are drawn on in these very, I don't know the word. Their facial expressions can be chilling. And it's just because they're drawn on, and it's hard to describe, but just it's different than, seeing something that's fully animated just chasing after you or popping up in front of you.
Man, I really want to play this because I'm really curious to see how this would work, like animated style. Because to me, like I said, like I was scrolling through and I saw this and I'm like, that's really interesting because I loved the Famicom detective stories that they did. What was it? A few months back. Where
I haven't played those, but
oh man, they are right up your alley. But yeah, like seeing something like this where it's a story driven narrative, but being told with like paper cutouts, especially in a horror stylized.
It seems like it would come across as comedic.
Or can
it does not.
Yeah, I understand.
I was very
that, but
impressed.
I think I'm so used to the Paper Mario series that I just assume that when something's going to be paper cut out like that, it's going to be funny.
Yeah, and that's why I'm like really trying to wrap my head around this because it's two things that don't seem like they would work together.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm so intrigued.
Huh. I'm intrigued.
It's very unique, and you do play about 4 different mini games. This is a prologue to a full length game coming out next year. By the way, you do play 4 mini games. They're very easy. You can't really fail them. But the mini games themselves are just they're all different. You play rock, paper, they call it rock, paper, stone in this game. Or no, scissor, paper, stone, sorry. They call it that. And then there's one where you have to roll up some food for a woman that is delivering it, but she has to take care of her child for a moment. Another one, you roll up some paper because a father is honoring his son who died, and it's a traditional thing. And then there's another mini game where you can throw rocks at the new family's window, and you try not to break them, which you can break the window. So I guess I is kind of failing in that one, but it doesn't really, it's not detrimental to your gameplay.
Is this fun, or is this more of an experience game that you just want to see the story and get the jump scares?
I'd say it's more experimental, at least so far, because the story is really interesting, and the only thing that kind of got to me was I became so invested in the story, and when it really started to sink its claws into me, it ended. I'm like, no! Now I gotta wait for the full-length game.
Oh no,
right.
I'm hoping this isn't like that Ground Zeroes Metal Gear Solid game.
Oh, yeah.
God. I didn't get that feeling from this, but it definitely left me wanting more.
Well, is it like a cliffhanger ending? Like there's like, all right, get the game?
It's not a cliffhanger, it's just like, I wanted to keep playing. And it's just like, no, it's over. But it does encourage multiple playthroughs. Because
I was bringing that up, though, because did you ever play the Ground Zeroes one, Alyssa?
I did, yeah.
Where it's just like, oh, look, you could beat this in 30 minutes after paying full price for this.
That's like a $40 game, wasn't it?
Yeah, that made me mad.
Well, this one's only $5. So each playthrough is about 30 minutes, but the story does change through your different dialogue choices, or if you choose to do something or not do something, different events will happen. So you do have incentive to keep going back
This is what
Okay.
I love about Alyssa is like she seeks out these games that I would never in a million years try to seek out myself, right? I look at this game and I'm like, that doesn't seem like anything I'm interested in. But hearing her talk about it, I'm kind of intrigued. I kind of want to check out a horror paper game. And that's why I love having her on this show. Is like she brings these games to the table that I would never consider, and now I'm considering them. So well done, Alyssa.
Well, thank you.
That is Paper Ghost Stories, 7 p.m.
All right. Well, I also am curious, mostly because somebody sent me the wrong link for this.
I noticed
yeah?
that as well.
Marvel Snap for iOS, Scott. You've been playing this, and I love Marvel. So,
I am shocked that more people in our community are not talking about this game.
I really haven't heard anything about it.
Seriously, this game. Okay, it's a CCG game. If you haven't seen the trailer, it's a collectible card game. And the biggest reason that I decided to check this out is Thomas Becks from our community. Massive Marvel fan, and he loves collectible card games as well. And he's been playing it and been raving about it and said, you got to check this out. It's really accessible. It's really easy to get into, super addicting. Got to try it. I said, fine, I will check it out. And I will tell you right off the bat, I am not a big CCG game guy. I got into Hearthstone a little bit, but with the different cards and everything, I was always I felt too confused to try to keep track of all that. And some of that's here, but Marvel Snap to me is something that's really special. And I really think you guys should check it out because they do a lot of things that make a mobile game seem a lot less gross in terms of microtransactions. Don't get me wrong, they're there, but they're not as gross and they're not as necessary. So it is a collectible card game, but the way that this game works is you're playing against an opponent. At the beginning during the training, you're playing against AI, so you're not even playing live against people at the beginning to go through this training. And what you do is you have a deck of cards, as you do in most CCG games, and as you get them, they basically only have two numbers on them. One is basically their mana, which is how much mana it costs to play that card, and the other is how much power it has. And in front of you are three piles, and your goal is to win power over two of those piles, or they call them locations. They're actual apparently Marvel locations from the comic books. So what you do is both players play a card at the same time. Instead of like me taking a turn and then CBU taking a turn, we both play at the same time, but our card is not revealed until both of us have played, and then they're flipped over, right? Okay. But it's not over until like 6 rounds. You get 6 rounds, and you put these cards, so it becomes a strategy about which pile am I going to put this into? Because I need my numbers, my total numbers of points for all my cards to be more than the total points of my opponent's cards for that location. But I have to win 2 of the 3 locations, not just one of the locations. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I get you.
Now, the way the mana works is your cards the more powerful ones are going to have higher end. It's either 1 through 6. And the way it works is that there's 6 rounds. So in the first round, you're given 1 mana. In the second round, you're given 2 mana. And then in the last round, you're given 6 mana. Any mana that you don't spend leading up to the 6th round, you can stack up to use later if you want to, because you can play as many cards as you have mana cards available. With me?
Mm-hmm.
The really cool thing about this game, because it's, they hook, line, and sinker you because it's very easy at the beginning playing against the AI. You win consistently and win and win and win. But the really cool thing about this is the draw is not to... the draw is cosmetics. And I know that sounds weird, but the cards look like the comic book characters of Marvel characters. Yeah. So like you're not gonna recognize them from the MCU. They're gonna be characters from the MCU, but they're gonna look like the comic book characters. And so the draw is to upgrade these cards just cosmetically. Like like how in a normal game you like do your dailies and you collect all these points and you have the gold and you spend everything. You're spending it on upgrading your cards just to look cooler. And when I say look cooler, you get a really cool gold embossed edge around this card, or it's a variant card of the same character where he's in a different position, or now this card is in 3D and you can literally move the card Like we move your like it shows up on your phone and you can move it around and see it looks like it's in 3D almost.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that is what you're doing. You are not paying to win. Does that make sense? Like you're not buying decks that are more powerful. You're just buying cosmetic upgrades. Now, you can build stronger decks by trading in your older cards, and kind of that's how you work your way up the ladder in rank. Is
Okay.
like your deck gets more and more powerful, and then you kind of just keep slowly working your way up. Here's the thing: this game is so cool. I'm talking so positively about it, and personally, I'm probably not going to get that deep into it, just because I'm not. I don't stick with these games very long. However, if you are a Marvel fan or even a casual CCG player, this game is so accessible. Each match lasts 30 to 45 seconds, just to play all these cards if you're doing it quickly enough. It's that one more match mentality that, that make these games so addicting. I got time for one more. I can do one more. I can do one more. And you're constantly chasing that carrot on the stick of what new cards am I going to get? Not only that, but talking to other people, the cards that I get at the beginning will be completely different from the cards that you're getting, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and that's the other cool thing I haven't even told you about, and what makes this game very complicated for me is I told you it's very simplistic with like the numbers and then the power, right?
Yeah.
Or the numbers and then the mana to spend that card. But what makes this game unique is that each character has a special ability that also does it. That like I play this card, and if my opponent plays a card in round 5, it will double the points that they played in round 5, or something like that. Or I don't know. It does really interesting things. Like it'll take like a character will play your cards for you in like the most in the way that it thinks is the best way possible. There are strategic moves to play. Like one of my most powerful cards I have is the Hulk, and he has 14 points, which is a lot of points. But that's all he does is 14 points. He doesn't have any extra special ability. He's just super strong, but it costs 6 mana to spend to use him. So you obviously can't use him till the last turn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But each individual character does something that is akin to their character. You know what I mean?
Well, like Thor's gonna have a hammer.
I haven't got Thor yet, but they will do things that change the numbers. That like kind of change that will, I don't know, maybe swap the points. Swap my points with my opponent's points in this round, or do that. And that's where it gets too complicated for me because I can't keep track of what every character does, and I'm going through and reading each card. You know what I mean? Like, because I want to make sure I'm making the good move, and my opponent's getting annoyed because they're waiting for me to. So I always feel like I'm rushed. But even if you lose, it's not that big a deal. You just don't win. You know what I mean? You just wait till your next win to get more points to spend. So I don't know. I feel like if Zach hasn't played this game already, I feel like he would like this game quite a bit. I think that you, being a comic book fan, CB would want to check this out too because it's a free download. The thing that makes it a little bit icky in terms of the microtransactions is they do season passes. So which
oh, CB's face.
And the season passes are $10. So you pay $10 for a season pass, and the seasons last about a month and a half. So if you really get into this game and you're gonna, stick with this game, you're looking at $120, potentially $90 to $100 a year.
Yeah, that's a steep price.
That's a steep commitment. So, but you don't have to. You don't have to do these things. All that season pass does is get you exclusive cards that you wouldn't get, but they're not more powerful cards. They're just different variants. So you're really only paying for cosmetic stuff. You're going to get the better decks by grinding.
Yes and no, because hang on. When you grind, you get the things.
Mm-hmm.
But if I buy the season pass and everything, I get the things right now.
Mm-hmm.
So already, if you don't have the season pass, you are working from behind the 8-ball.
Right, but you're not going to be matched up against people you're going to be matched against somebody that's a fair match. Or at least I get that impression.
I mean, I hope so. Well, right there though, like you said, it $90 to $120 a year is a pretty steep price for a
I mean, that's if
mobile
you
game.
stick with it. You know what I mean? But I mean, you're paying that more or less for bragging rights than you are for pay to win. You know what I mean? You're going to get some cards.
It still does feel a little bit pay to win because again, you are getting the cards now.
Right, but download it and check it out because I understand what you're saying and I partially agree with you. This one feels a little bit less gross than, oh, I ran out of tokens to play this game for the day. I can buy 5 more tokens for $2. You know what I mean? Like that. And even though that's only $2, that feels grosser than this because it's completely optional. Like I can stop paying Candy Crush for the day and just wait for my, 3 hours for it to refill or whatever. But the addictive nature of that is still there.
I'll take a look at it because I mean I am fairly well versed in CCGs.
Okay. I'd be really curious to hear what you think about this, especially because every character is voice acted.
Oh, that's cool.
And there's like a whenever you play that card, they say their little line here. That's really cool. There's some weight to it, like when you actually put your cards down, it has, it makes these sounds that just feel satisfying. There's a wager system that you can do where you can wager a certain amount of points if you think that you're really going to win this next play card, or I'm going to take this thing, and if you win the wager, then you get those bonus points, or if you lose the wager, you lose those bonus points. They've done some interesting things with CCGs, and I know you're a big Magic guy. I know you probably dabbled in Hearthstone a little bit.
Oh yeah.
This feels like it's going to be the next really big thing.
Yeah, but you have to remember, I've heard that about multiples, like Keyforge. That
I've never even heard of Keyforge.
I haven't either.
It was made by the same guy who made Magic and claimed to be the next big thing, and
yeah, but this has Marvel dollars behind it, and just
there was a Final Fantasy one. There was a Star Wars one.
Okay.
So believe it or not, all because it has money behind it doesn't mean it's going to be successful.
I know, but I'm saying that after I've actually tried it. I'm saying that I really believe that this game, as someone who's not going to play it much more, and I know that sounds a little disingenuous, but that's just more because I'm not into the Magic scene and the Hearthstone scene as much as you are.
Yeah. I mean,
you know what I mean?
Do I hope the best for them? Yes. But it's going to be real hard to crack that top 4 between Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, and what's the other one that people play?
Hearthstone.
Yeah, Hearthstone. Like it's going to be real hard to crack that top 4 because they are so dominant in the market.
I think they're making a considerable chance at it, dude. I mean, and that's coming from a guy that's not big into these games, but just a little bit I played, and how easy it is just to get one more in, and just how ingenious that the UI works. Everything just feels like they've done the Hearthstone. They've made gameplay smoother than Hearthstone. I played Hearthstone, but each of these matches is much more quick, much more snappy than even Hearthstone is.
Way to get that in there.
I really didn't mean to, but I'm thoroughly impressed as a guy that's not big into these games and probably won't play anymore. I know that sounds weird. I love this game. I'm not going to play it anymore. That's just because.
But see, that's the thing is a lot of the people are attracted to these games because of the complexity.
Mm-hmm.
If it's that easy and it's that snappy, there's a lot of people that already fall off because the challenge curve isn't there.
Well, I haven't gotten that far, but some other people that I've talked to or listened to that are playing it, that says the challenge does ramp up considerably. It gets very competitive, and then it does the season thing where you try to get to this rank by the end of the season. There's a carrot at the end of the stick. Like I think for this season, the collectible card is a Miles Morales card that is only available in that season. Like if you don't reach that level in this season, then you're never going to get that card.
And right then and there, that's a second knock for a lot of CCG players. is once the card is gone and like you have no way to obtain it,
Mm-hmm.
that it loses
But it's not a
some
game
luster.
break. But it's not a game breaking card. Like I said, the attractiveness of that card is I have that character. I have that really cool variant of a character. I have that really cool looking 3D gold embossed card. You know,
Can you trade these back and forth with people?
That's a good question. I don't know. I
Because that's what I'd be really curious on.
that would be a really cool feature.
It would be.
Because that's like I played Magic the Gathering for a long time.
Mhm.
Like most of my old cards I traded away a long time ago. But
Right.
because they do exist out there, I
Mhm.
could theoretically either buy or trade for them.
Right.
Whereas if you remove that element, it's like, okay, so that is basically never obtainable to me.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, yes, it may not be a game-breaking thing, but if I'm
No, but that's incentive for you to hit the ground running at the onset.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Which
I know.
I don't know if you scrolled through Twitter lately. I feel like this thing is advertised every other ad on Twitter for me right now.
That's because you fell into a Google well.
Probably. Seriously though, check it out. It doesn't cost you anything to download it. I'd be really curious to hear your impressions of it because
Yeah,
I think they've done something pretty cool. So Marvel Snap. I'm playing on iOS. I have to assume it's on Android as well.
Yep, I looked it up. It is.
Okay, cool. All right. Before we move on to our topic of the week, I want to remind everybody about how you can follow the Gaming Outsider, maybe get involved with our community. First off, facebook.com/groups/thegocast is a place where you can find all of our episodes, I try to keep that posted with any relevant news, fun little memes, anything interesting that's video game related I put on there. And also we got an awesome community over there. In fact, we got a couple new members. I want to say hello to Jason West and Chris Brockman, who joined this past week over on Facebook. Welcome, guys. Thank you so much. Also, our Discord server, we mentioned it earlier, is live and thriving. If you can find the link for that in the show notes for this episode, we'd love it if you join that community. Whenever we do community game nights, we usually meet up on there, and it would be a lot of fun. Also, please check out our show if you haven't already, but leave us a review, whether it is on Apple Podcasts, whether it is on Stitcher, whether it is on Google Play Music, whether it is on Amazon Music. I learned today that our podcast is on Amazon Music. I didn't even realize it for some reason. But drop us a review. Let us know what you think. We will read those reviews on the show if you do, and it helps us get the word out about what we're doing. And finally, our website is thegamingoutsider.com. Again, you can find all of our episodes there, all of our written content, and we would love it if you checked it out because we do put a lot of work into making that thing look really professional. So thegamingoutsider.com. Let's go ahead now and jump into our From the Outside In topic. By the time you guys all hear this episode, Halloween season will be officially over. It actually is over for us already. But I wanted to get one topic in around this spooky time of year. Unfortunately, we had to talk about Legos last week, so we couldn't.
Sorry, man. Well, I mean, for a second there, I thought you were going to say hollandaise sauce.
Hollandaise sauce.
Because you were like, hollow, and I was like, is you going to say hollandaise?
Yeah. We've talked about horror games in the past, but I thought we'd get a little bit more specific this week, and I want to hear what everyone thinks is the creepiest character or enemy in video games. But let's start with some favorite scary moments or jump scares in games. Any standouts? Not necessarily just a character, but just something that happens in a game that just kind of puts you on the edge of your seat or freaked you out.
All
of
Alien Isolation.
Oh, all of Alien Isolation.
all of it. The entire game.
Didn't that one use the Kinect too at the time, where it would hear
in
you
the
talk
beginning,
or something? Yeah,
in the beginning it did, but the fact that the game built in a secondary AI, the game has 3 AI engines.
Okay,
1 for everything that is not the alien, 2 the alien itself, and 3 an overlord, an overlord AI that basically drops hints to the alien on where you are.
Oh, wow.
It is considered one of the most complex AI engines ever developed for a game.
That sounds stressful as hell.
It does.
Believe me, it is. You're just I'm walking along, I'm having a day. Oh, look, there's some stuff dripping from the ceiling. I'm about to have a really bad time.
I wish everybody could see
I know
the
you're
look on CB's face
yeah,
while he's like running in
smiling.
place.
I can't help it. I'm an animated person.
Yes, apparently you are. Yeah. So just all of Alien Isolation is your answer.
Dude, that whole game is just intense.
Yeah. I need to
Like-
give it one other shot. The thing that stuck out to me of that game is just how detailed the opening areas are where you're on the ship and it feels like you're on the is it
Where it
Nostromo?
feels like you're on the USCS Nostromo.
Yeah, like I've just the detail and the wall. I mean, you go back and watch that movie, it looks really cool, but it definitely feels like a product of the 70s. You know what I mean?
Oh, the lore, believe it or not, like the lore that actually adds to that universe is
Mhm.
insane.
Yeah.
Because it actually explains like why Ash does the like little running in place.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh.
there,
Oh.
dude, there's some intense lore that was added to the game. That, believe it or not,
I thought that was just him like psyching himself up or something. I didn't
nope,
realize
it
that
has a
was...
purpose. That is, believe it or not, that is the system diagnostic check for any of the androids in that universe.
So how come, Bishop didn't do it in Aliens?
You don't see it because it happens at other places and other games and other comics. But it is a system diagnostic check to make sure everything is functional.
Interesting.
Because you will run into some of them, like if you're being quiet and walking around, every now and then one of the worker Joes, like the early versions of AI robots, they'll be standing and they'll stop, and all of a sudden they'll just do it, and I'm like, what was that? and you find it. It says there's like a data log entry that explains that. But that game is so intense because you'll be like hiding under a table, and it looks like the alien has like left the area.
Mm-hmm.
And as you like creep out, like your character will like turn and look up, and the thing is just staring down at you from above. You're like, God dang it, it got me again.
So it's just like in the movies.
Oh yeah, like it is everywhere. Or you'll
So what do you have to do in a situation like that? If you're not supposed to, are you just supposed to wait longer?
There was something that you probably should have done that you forgot to do. Like
I'm so confused how that
like
game works.
use like a noisemaker to make
okay.
it run off in the other direction, or you forgot to close a door behind you, or you
okay.
walked into a room that you should have closed the door behind you and locked because the door on the other side of the room is locked, or you locked the door behind you.
You're not selling me on this game, man. That just sounds super stressful to me.
But it's a horror game. It's supposed to be stressful.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it is so like I adore that. The fact that game came out like what, early Xbox One era,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and people are still talking about it to this day
Mm-hmm.
as one of the scariest games that has come out. Like that game is great.
Will you do me a favor and remind me next Halloween?
Yeah,
Because I like to
I
play those
will-
kind of games.
I will buy you a copy because it's like $10.
It's
And
on
I will-
Xbox Game Pass.
No, because then I can boomerang it at your head. You're like, play this game, man. Stop
let's see
being
what's
a
on my
dope.
plate. Alyssa, what about you? Any favorite scary moments or jump scares?
One that really sticks out in my mind is I was playing PT, and through one of the loops you do, on the radio it says, look behind you, and then it says something like, I said look behind you, and obviously you know something's gonna happen. But I turn around, and there's Lisa, and she does the whole, like, she's right up on the screen, her face.
Mhm.
I threw my controller and screamed. I was just like,
Man,
and my parents were home at that time, and they were coming in like, what's wrong? I'm like, the game!
Did you ever play Fear?
I did.
I did
That
not.
first time going down that ladder?
Yeah, Alma.
Oh my, oh!
Where you're walking down a ladder and then she's just in your face?
Yeah, she's
Well,
like,
You do the whole thing like, you go to the ladder, you hit the button, you turn, there's nothing, you look down to check the ladder, and you look and it's just right there, and like, oh god, this stupid game!
That's a good one. I mean, the easy answer for me is Resident Evil, the original. Remember when you're walking down the hallway and
the first head turn
camera angle, and then a dog jumps through the window like right in front of your camera? I mean, it's comical to watch that scene now because it just looks so bad.
Bark, bark.
Yeah. But at the time, that was one of the scariest things I had ever seen. That was just, that was really good.
But my brother was the first head turn.
Oh, dude, I mean, again, it looks more like one of the aliens from Mars Attacks now than it does a zombie. Like if you look at, yeah, like it looks comical, but at the time, that was the most realistic looking thing we had seen.
Well, I mean, God, that was, 20 plus years ago. And I remember because my brother was under the age of 10.
Oh, okay.
And I remember sitting there right with him because we're only we're less than 3 years apart, and we rented that game and he popped it in and we're playing. We're like, okay, yeah, nothing's going on. And he goes upstairs and the fact that this thing just keeps coming because we'd all played video games before then. That you shoot it, it goes down, it's dead. You shoot this thing, it gets up, and it just keeps coming.
In the original Resident Evil?
Yeah, because we didn't know what we were doing. Because you actually had to aim and hit this thing. Whereas if you're just blind firing, you're missing, freaking out, and it just keeps coming at you. And you're like, oh my God, there's no auto aim. This thing's going to kill me.
Right.
And it was so creepy being so young that I'm like, that game still to this day, even when I played it on the GameCube, that first zombie interaction is so just emblazoned in my memory.
Oh yeah, I can see the angle in my head right now and just the look on that zombie's face, and then you go back to the game and it just kind of shambles towards you. And that was before zombies were overdone, right? Sure, we had seen it in Night of the Living Dead and stuff like that before, and there had been some, but after Resident Evil, everything just started doing zombies, right? So this is still early on before it kind of got overkilled, and it was just one of the coolest things. It's funny you mentioned the GameCube version because I played the GameCube version. What they called it, Resident Evil, a remake, remake, whatever,
the Crimson.
And that one added that character. It was a female character that was shackled at the hands for some reason. I cannot remember the lore behind that character, but it freaked me out so much. And I was living by myself at that point, and I was dating my wife, but I was at the home by myself, and she loved to make fun of me because I told her about it like an idiot. That I got up from playing that game alone in my house. It's pitch black outside. It's pitch black in my apartment, and I was so freaked out that I wasn't able to feel safe until I went and looked behind the couch and made sure there weren't any zombies there. I knew there weren't any zombies there, but I had to look just to tell my brain to make sure that they weren't there. And my wife to this day has made fun of me for that.
Okay. Alien Isolation did that for me.
Yeah.
A newer game where I turned it off and I'm looking around because it was all of my lights were off.
Yep.
And I'm just I feel like something's watching me.
Yeah. That's what I felt like. I felt like somebody was I didn't want to be that guy in the movie that gets done playing the game or gets done doing whatever and leaves the bar and then they're not seeing some assailant there. You know what I mean?
But I'm a full-grown adult. This is less than 10 years ago.
Yeah, this is 20 years ago for
me.
And
I know this is a fictional alien.
Right.
And I felt like the xenomorph was standing outside my window watching me, just waiting for me to walk by.
I'm really glad you said that because I was fully expecting you to just make fun of me for being a pansy for that. Because
no.
But that's the thing is Alien Isolation gets in your head so much.
Yeah.
That I had to go in my basement and I had to turn on every light because I'm I am leaving no shadows in this basement for this thing to be hiding in.
Yeah. It's kind of like an actual real scare that I've had. One time I came home and realized I forgot to lock the house and I actually left the door open. I came home and I just had realized that. So that unnerving feeling of going through your house to make sure that there's not anybody that just like set up camp in your house while you were gone for a couple hours.
Yeah.
It was
Mhm.
like that, but for something that didn't actually exist. You know what I mean? Like, and I didn't put this on the format, so I'm kind of asking you guys on the spot here, but I kind of get annoyed sometimes when I talk to people about, oh, games aren't scary anymore. Just horror games
You're
are
not playing
they're not
the right game.
I mean, on one hand, I do understand because I feel a bit desensitized. Like I'm playing. I just got done playing Dead Space 2, like I told you about, and I still get that palm sweatiness when I'm playing it, but not because I'm freaked out or scared. It's more because I'm worried I'm gonna mess up this section and I'm gonna have to redo it. You know what I mean? It's more like my palms are sweaty because of it's a video game that I want to get through, and I don't want to waste the time. Then I'm actually scared that xenomorphs are going to come out of my TV and get me. You know what I mean?
But see, here's the thing. If you want to make a game scary,
Mm-hmm.
it's ambiance. It's all about the ambiance. Like if you're going to play a game, play it in your basement. Shut off all the lights. Make it quiet.
Oh,
Put
you
on
mean actual
headphones.
physical ambiance where you are? Okay.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing is, if I'm playing a horror game and it's noon, it's bright outside, the sun is shining, the birds are singing, I'm not going to be in the right headspace to scare myself.
Yeah.
Horror video games rely on you being in that headspace to trick your own brain. That's why VR works so well in certain situations.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to play a game like that, literally isolate yourself.
Isolate yourself to play Alien Isolation?
Well, just any horror game. Put on noise canceling headphones and make sure that they've got like surround sound.
Oh, I would be scared crapless to do that because I know someone would be messing with me.
But I got Christina really good one time when we were playing a VR horror game. I did that, like I reached out and like grabbed her ankle. And she was like, nope, we're done here. But see, that's how you make games scary, is you have to build that ambiance. If you're just watching it in the middle of the daytime, you're not going to get scared. If you're in it for the scare, make sure you do it for it.
But there is something to be said to being desensitized by it because we've grown up with horror for like most of our lives. But I do find myself getting annoyed with some people that are like, oh, nothing scares me anymore, because I can't tell if it's just machismo or if it's like,
oh, the people that go out of their
desensitized.
way to tell me I'm not scared are the
They're
ones
scared.
that are the ones that I find are the most scared in certain situations.
Or people that say like, oh, horror movies just don't exist anymore.
Again, you're doing it wrong. It's mindset.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Do you guys like to hop back into older horror games this time of year like I do? You know, like I just went through Dead Space 2. Do you guys do that?
I've never really done that.
Really?
Mm-mm.
I'm a weirdo, apparently.
No, you're not weird.
I mean, just like, I love to watch scary movies during Halloween. I, recently rewatched the original Halloween, Silence of the Lambs. Although I don't even know if I consider that one a Halloween movie, but sure is creepy.
It is horror, psychological horror.
Yeah, but man, I mean, that ending scene too is just so, man. I actually went back and then watched Red Dragon. I watched Manhunter.
Which one?
I started. Well,
Oh.
Manhunter with the guy. Manhunter is the other version of Red Dragon.
of Red Dragon
Yeah.
with William.
The guy from CSI.
Yeah, that guy. And Brian Cox. Different.
Yeah.
It's not Anthony Hopkins.
Anthony Hopkins is Brian Cox as Hannibal Lecter. And then I tried to watch Hannibal again and remembered how horrible, how boring that movie was.
It's a slog, but I still enjoy it because of the dinner scene.
The dinner scene, I know exactly what you're talking about. Guy with kind of an open thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I saw that in the theater and I was like, is this really happening? Holy crap.
Yeah.
That's messed up. But what about you, CB? Do you hop into older games?
Why do I need this time of year?
I know. I mean, you can play them whenever, but there's just something special to me about playing them during Halloween.
It's my favorite genre is horror. So for me,
Like in everything, like movies,
Halloween.
TV, everything.
Oh yes, you've seen my video collection. Majority
That's
of it
true.
is horror.
Yeah.
I love horror, all types of horror. Though I tend to shy away from like just Gorefest,
Right.
because to me Gorefest is not horror and it is not scary. It's just annoying
Shock
and
factor.
nauseating.
Mhm.
And not so much nauseating like, ooh, that's gross. It's just nauseating because it's so overplayed and overdone.
Mhm.
If you're gonna do gore, use it sparingly and at the proper time, and the shock factor goes way up.
Right. When you use
Have you ever seen the movie The Audition?
I
Oh
have.
man, I haven't. It's one on my list that I need to see.
It is.
That movie is so unnerving because it's just small use of gore at the right time.
I remember seeing an interview with Rob Zombie where he said like that movie freaked him out. If it freaks out Rob Zombie,
I'm telling you, man. And see, that's what there's only like two like actual gore scenes in the entire movie.
oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
But they're just used so well and at the right time. That's what I'm saying. It's all about the mindset. That whole movie is just, it plays you the whole time. And then you get hit in the face with it and you're like, oh my God, what?
right. Builds up and then hits you at the shock factor. Yeah, is that one? That one's subtitled, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Oh man.
Do you have that one?
Yeah. It's
The
on
way
the
CB's face
it's on
went
the
up.
Voodoo account.
Okay, I may have to check
Let's
that
just-
out. I've been meaning to watch that one.
Let's just say you're going to have some Dead Space 2 flashbacks.
oh, that's kind of I assumed where that was coming.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that scene in Dead Space.
You
Holy
just
cow!
Wait till you watch it in live action.
Yeah, right. All right, well, let's get into the actual meat and potatoes here. What characters from video games creep you out more than any others?
Xenomorphs.
Yeah, we know that already.
Oh man, so I actually have a couple. I'm not a complete heathen. Well, like I said, Xenomorphs, Alma,
Yeah.
from
Fear.
Fear, the Mimics from Prey.
Mimics. Oh, you mean the newer Prey?
Yeah.
Okay.
Those
whenever you
things-
say Prey, I always think of the original Xbox 360 game.
Yeah.
I like that game. Shut up.
I'm not saying I don't, but I liked the new one. The baby From-
Which one?
from Resident Evil 8.
Oh yeah.
You don't remember the baby?
The dolls.
I know the baby.
Oh yeah, holy cow.
The huge.
Yeah.
That was crawling towards you on the floor and you had to
Yeah.
go
Oh.
hide behind the bed.
Oh man, that thing hit on a whole nother level.
I forgot about that one, man. That's a good pull. That's a
Yeah.
really good one.
The
Because
G-Man.
it made the crying noises like
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
oh
Yeah,
oh.
that thing is the thing of nightmares.
Yeah, especially because it was huge, but it had a baby's face on it.
That was no baby's face, sir. That thing haunts my dreams to this day.
That was messed up. That's a good pull.
Yeah. The G-Man from Half-Life. Specifically Half-Life 1 G-Man.
Didn't get far enough to see him, I don't think.
Oh god. I guarantee you at some point in time you did.
Okay.
Because he's there the whole time. The entire game of Catherine.
Oh God, yeah, that's
That is
the
just
baby one in
nightmare-
that one too.
That is just nothing but nightmare fuel.
Yeah,
And
man,
then
I really like that game so much.
a good chunk of Dante's Inferno.
Man, you're still in all the good ones.
Again, man, like horror's my thing.
Yeah,
Like I had to cut things off like the nurses from Silent Hill.
Shut up. That's on my list.
Again, horror is my genre.
Yeah.
You play roguelikes. I play horror and shoot 'em ups. So,
All right.
yeah, there you go. Some
Any
things
others?
for you. Bro, I could go on for days.
All right. Well, let's give Alyssa and me a chance. How about that?
All right, you guys go, and I'll fill in some gaps later on if you miss anything good.
All right.
I don't really get scared by any characters. I mostly am just like, oh, that's a cool design. Even if they're trying to kill me, I'm like, oh, cool design. But in the first Evil Within, her name was Laura. I can't remember if it was
Laura.
Bone Laura or Laura Bone.
Laura
It's one of
Bone.
those. Laura Bone. And just, it's always creeped me out, like, when there's any kind of character that is basically like a contortion demon, and then they walk towards you in a weird way, and then she
Yeah.
has the long black hair covering her face also. She always, every time, would scare me when she'd pop up in that game.
Yeah.
Like, no, get her away from me!
I never
That's
played
really-
the Amnesia games. Were those creepy? I just felt like those games were just hide in a closet and wait for it to go away.
I never
They're
played the
okay.
Amnesia games. And Outlast was pretty much, I think, I played Outlast, the first one, and it was so stressful that I can't play the DLC or any of the sequels. That was just too stressful of an experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's about
I-
it. I mean, again, I don't really get scared by the characters besides Laura, but
The one, my biggest one was the one you already mentioned, CB, and that was the nurses from Silent Hill, because those were some of the creepiest. Just the way they twitched, the way
Yeah.
their movement was
It's so unnatural.
It was, man. It was.
When
Holy
you have
cow!
to like crawl between them.
Yeah, you had to like work your way through them with that, and like you get really close to them and hope they don't move. That was super creepy. Actually, one that just came out. I didn't play it, but I've seen some people play it on YouTube. It's the new DLC for Resident Evil 8 that dropped this past weekend. Do yourself a favor and go watch some of the gameplay of that. They have these like walking mannequin things that chase after you, but only when you're not looking at them.
Yeah, so
that-
they're weeping angels.
yeah, the Weeping Angels
They
from
kinda like-
Doctor Who.
Yeah, kind of like that. But they have these glowing eyes that make them feel more alive than the Weeping Angels. Which, by the way, I have seen that episode. But they do it where you see them move when you turn around to face them. You see them move and stop, almost like you're playing a game of red light, green light with them. I'm just watching a dude play it, and it was creepy. I can't imagine playing that game, and that was really messed up. Another one, although it's not a horror game per se, I still found the Big Daddies really creepy in BioShock.
Oh,
Just them kind of
That-
lumbering along and groaning.
that
like
first shot that you see one.
Oh, when he rescues a little sister.
Well, no, when he's bypassing you in that hallway.
Is that the first time you see him?
That's like one of the first times I remember seeing them.
Okay.
But yeah, those love them.
Those are, again, that's an ambiance thing, right? I mean, imagine playing
Yeah.
that game with headphones and hearing, like, in the distance, just this, just, because it was almost like sad. Like you wanted to know what their story was. You know what I mean? So it was creepy about the unknown. What happened to them? You actually had to go read the books and stuff to learn more about the lore.
To me, the Big Daddies were so much more creepy and scary than the Big Sisters.
Yeah, the Big Sisters
were
were just
Yeah.
spastic.
Yeah. But the Big Daddies also, once they saw you, it just became an action thing. They weren't scary anymore from a creepy standpoint. They were just scary because they were hard to kill.
Yeah.
And you might laugh at me on this one, but I played one of the Slender Man video games, and I understand that whole thing is just really kind of ridiculous about like this being because I guess people have actually died from Slender Man. So, but the first time I played that game, and it's just like this tall dude standing in a black suit and a red tie. But there's a moment in the game where you know he's stalking you. And it was one of those situations where you almost could have blinked and missed it because you turn around and there's a mountainscape, and at the top of the mountain, you just see Slender Man boop, standing at the top of this mountain, and you can see his eyes from a ways away. You know he's there. He can't get you from there, but it creeped me out as a 30-year-old man. Dude,
that's the G-Man.
Oh, dude, so good.
If you're paying attention during Half-Life, he's everywhere. Like, you'll be like riding on a train car, and he'll be in another train car going the opposite direction, just staring at you.
Oh, really? Is it one of those like
Dude, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Sixth Sense thing where you go back and you play it, and you're like,
there's times you'll be walking down a hallway, and it'll be lined with like all the doors that have like the little square windows, and you'll be running from something, but if you stop and look, like he's in like certain doors as you're running.
Yeah.
Like he's
That's
always
cool.
there.
That's pretty cool. All right, CB, that's all I had on my list. What other ones did I miss?
Oh man. Okay, you guys missed some good ones. The liquors.
Oh man, that's a good call. The way they introduced the liquors in Resident Evil 2.
That first cinematic screenshot, just that perfect. The hallucinations from all of the like Until Dawn and the Dark Pictures anthologies.
Okay, I
those,
didn't get as deep into those as you did.
But those flash hallucinations where it's almost like a still image.
Oh, okay.
That's like super, super creepy. Oh god, I had like one other one that like, the Baker family from Resident Evil 7.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, the way you were introduced to them at the beginning was pretty messed up.
But the grandma. That stupid grandma. Where you'd open a door and she'd just be sitting there in a wheelchair.
Yep. Yeah, she's like, how'd you get here, Grandma?
But you'd walk down the hallway and you turn around and the wheelchair's turned staring at you.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this thing is. And then one that I'm so excited because it's coming back. Shodan from System Shock.
That's another one I haven't played.
Ooh, just a rampant, vengeful AI that is. If you know, for those listening, if you know the lore of System Shock, Shodan is unbelievably creepy.
All right. They're remaking that, aren't they? Isn't there a System Shock? Or is it System Shock 2?
They're remaking one of them, but I also remember that there was like a rumor of System Shock 3.
Oh, okay. I never played them.
So, yeah, I'm excited. But yeah, and then you didn't like it as much, but the Hunt Showdown.
I like the creep factor, the Southern Creole vibe that game did was pretty cool.
Yeah, like that does some really good things. And then I have my final one because I can't believe even you have bypassed this.
Okay.
Senua's Sacrifice.
Oh, that one was more just like
Hellblade, yeah. But that game is so creepy.
If you play with headphones.
Yeah, if you play with headphones, because that game makes you doubt yourself.
Yep. Sure does. I really need to go back and replay that game.
Oh my god. Because like I don't like that game is not so much a horror game, but makes itself into a horror game because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just disturbing.
I just wish that game were a little more fun to play. I think that was maybe the point. Where is that game, by the way?
I know, they announced it before the Series X was even released.
I haven't heard about that game in a while. I forgot about it until you just said it. Where is...
Dude, it's been on my radar forever, because the last thing we saw was that little bit of gameplay footage, and that was it.
What? Holy cow. I haven't thought about that game in months. Like, genuinely months I haven't thought about it. What's the new one called? Because it was Senua's Sacrifice. And what's the new one called?
Senua's Saga?
It's Senua's something.
That's how little we've heard about this game in so long. Please tell me that game is actually happening.
It looked pretty far in development from what they showed.
Like, we thought that was going to be a launch title, didn't we?
Yeah.
Like, that was,
It was
kind
originally
of
slotted to be a launch title.
Yeah, it was.
But an unfortunate name that we don't talk about anymore that afflicted the world for way longer than it needed to.
Yeah.
So we don't talk about that.
All right, well, let's go ahead and see what the community said. We got some comments to share from Facebook and Discord. Starting over on Facebook, Jeremiah Nestor says, the ghosts from the earlier Fatal Frame series was different. The game was in third person, but to deal with the ghosts, you were forced to do so head on. Camera Obscura was in first person. Hardly slept for 3 days while playing this back in the day. Side note, I lived in a haunted house when I was little, so this game hit a nerve. That game creeped me out. I only played the first one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
I've got 1,
I played
2,
it as well.
and 3, and then the new one on Switch.
Yeah. Yeah, like he says, it was a really clever way to force you to look at the horror. You couldn't run away from it. You had to look at it because...
Deal with your trauma.
Yep. Yeah, that was really cool. All right, CB, you're up.
Andrew Zek, I don't want to spoil anything. You should experience this naturally in the game, in my opinion. But the mirror scene from The Evil Within 2 is my favorite.
I have not played that one. Alyssa, have you played that one?
I've played it. I'm trying to remember the mirror scene, though.
I'm not going to be of any
help.
It'll
come to me later.
I tried the original Evil Within, and I just got frustrated. It felt like a trial by error game.
Yeah.
And I just got frustrated, and I just kind of gave up. Are they good, Alyssa?
I liked them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're fun. I just wish you carry more matches.
I don't know what that means.
You ever find that like games where like you have to use matches to like light things? But for some reason, you don't ever carry like 5 matches.
Well, I mean, they're heavy.
Sure, but I can carry 1,000 rounds of ammunition.
Yeah.
Confused.
Sean Coates writes, the Dianoga sewer monster, I hope I said that right, from Shadows of the Empire, still to this day, over 25 years later, freaks me the hell out. I think I once told the story about how I loaned my cartridge to a buddy to beat it for me, and that save file still hasn't been deleted. I've only played it and beaten it once myself in the years since. It's because of this old fear that games like Subnautica get a big fat nope from me.
That's really funny, the thought of him having 2 copies of a game that he can play the first one up until he gets to that point. Or like, I guess you don't even need a copy because there are multiple save files, right?
Yeah.
So he plays one save file up until he gets to that point, exits the game, goes into the other save file that's already beaten it, and then continues the game. That concept is hilarious to me. That's a thing. That's good. Andrew Lewis says, this bugger did a good job of freaking me out, and he put a picture when he posted this. It's Chris Walker from Outlast, another game I haven't played, and the alien from Alien Isolation was pretty terrifying. You got a friend there, CB.
Andrew Lewis, you're a man after my own heart. Thomas Becks over on Discord. Last of Us 1 had the bloater, and that was a terrifying opponent. Then Last of Us 2 said, hold my beer, and gave us the Rat King. And that thing was the stuff of nightmares.
It sure was.
Yep, and I loved every bit of that.
That fight was so exhausting for me.
It was.
Like, I just felt like it was never going to end.
Yeah, like, it's one of the few was like, just how broad it was.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like running around scrambling for ammo.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, nope, no.
It just feels like it stretches on forever, and you're like, I just want it to end.
I can't decide if I want to replay that game.
The Last of Us 2?
Yeah, because, like, it left such an impression on me that I just... Like, I'm not going to be surprised by anything anymore, but the game was so fun to play. But I kind of like the idea of it just sitting there as I played it the one time, and I'm good.
Okay, believe it or not, I actually do want to replay it. Because there was so much that happened in that game.
Yeah.
That I feel that I've missed something, and I want to go through and I want to find the rest of the sheet music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because that one scene was so beautiful that I want to experience more.
Take
Mhm.
on me. I love it.
If I butcher this name, I'm so sorry. Stefan Rombing?
You got
I
it.
always want to say Stefan, but I'm sure he'll
Wrote-
correct me on Discord.
Wrote, nothing really creeps me out anymore, but when Resident Evil released on the PlayStation back in 1996, the first zombie that appears scared me like nothing else. Sure, there are jump scares now and again, but nothing that lasts.
Yeah, that one is burned into our memory for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Last one. I can't believe I didn't think of this one. Mark Zemansky said Left 4 Dead, The Witch. The creepy crying, the crescendo of mad grunting as you grew closer, the almost guarantee of high damage should she attack, and I loved every minute of it. Woo! I didn't do that very well. Woo!
Okay, Rick.
Second place, The Knife Kids in the original Silent Hill. I don't remember why. I think it was just the imagery. I haven't played that game in decades. Yeah. There's something about little things that like feel like you're killing a kid that probably is creepy.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Because whenever I want to say Mark and I had a completely different take on the witch.
Okay.
Because it was me, Nate, and a couple of our buddies. We always played Left 4 Dead together. And how I played my character, the moment we heard the witch, they're like, "Chris, you're up." Because I always shotgun. I just ran up and just boom back of the head every time. I'm like, nope, got
Chris
her.
Chris is a shoot first, ask questions later kind of guy. Even in our D&D campaign.
Yeah, because bards are beautiful.
Super annoying sometimes. Although the last time you did it worked out pretty well. So
hey, that one time where you're all like, "How did this happen?" Me, baby.
Yeah, it happened. One way. I mean, I just played Dead Space, so obviously, I feel like I should have mentioned the necromorphs as well. Those are
especially the baby. The baby
man.
ones.
I was talking to Zach about that. I was like, I find it interesting how they let you get away with killing kids in Dead Space. Like, they're clearly children that have turned into necromorphs, right? You're in a nursery, you're in a school, and there are these short little necromorphs coming around. They used to be kids, guys.
Yeah.
The entire section of Dante's Inferno with lust and the nipple babies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The nipple spiders.
Whoa.
Yeah. For that matter, in Dead Space 2, there's the little exploding babies that actually cry when they crawl towards you, and then you shoot them and they explode.
You feel so bad.
Yeah. It's like, you used to be a child. Anyway, that was a fun topic. Thank you so much to everybody that wrote in and gave a response there. We got a lot of legs out of that. I was worried it was going to be kind of dead because we talk about Halloween stuff every year, but that was good. Next week, I've actually got the topic already lined up. I want to know what thing from video games, whether it be a game itself, whether it be some hardware thing or some service thing, do you wish the most that you could go back and show to your former self, like either as a kid or an early adult, and be like, this is what video games are going to do someday? What would that one thing be that you would choose to show? I am looking forward to that topic. I think
you really want to piss me off?
Why? Are you not going to be available next week?
No. I mean, you want to piss me off. This is how you're going to piss me off.
Well, I don't understand.
There's things that exist now that as a kid, make me mad.
Okay. So you're thinking, what would you want to show to make your former self mad? Not.
Oh,
look at how awesome things are going to be.
Yeah. This is great, but look what you have to do to get there.
All right, so stay tuned for that topic. I will be posting it officially on the social media outlets in the next couple days or so. By the time you hear this episode, it might be up already. Who knows? So keep in mind for that. And also, got a voicemail line. I heard Zach mention it last week. I guess I should start doing that again. Area code 347-746-2278. Or if you want an easy way to remember that, 3477 GoCast. Call, leave us a voicemail. We'll figure a way to be able to play it on the show for you. Or if you want to, it's actually easier and better quality if you just record it on the voice memo on your phone and then email it to us at feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. It makes a much better sounding recording than a voicemail line. So give that a shot. But that's going to do it for this episode of The Gaming Outsider. CB, any parting words or recommendations before you get out of here?
Tales of the Jedi.
What is Tales of the Jedi?
It's a new Disney Plus show that gives some background on some characters. Like Ahsoka.
I did not know that was out there. I haven't even watched Andor yet, and there's already another show.
It's animated. Each episode's only 17 minutes long.
Mm-hmm.
But
Perfect.
you get to see Count Dooku as a Jedi.
Oh, before he turned.
Yeah. Man, this show makes you, like, just, it gives you little snippets of lore. Like, you get to find out, like, what Ahsoka's life was before she joined the Jedi. And Count Dooku and Qui-Gon Jinn and Mace Windu.
This sounds so cool.
Like, before, like, Mace Windu, like, joined the Jedi Council. When him and Dooku are just palling around the galaxy, doing some stuff. And you get to see Qui-Gon as a Padawan.
That's pretty cool.
It is.
Sounds interesting.
It is definitely a cool little show. I really hope they continue with it because it's not a long series, and like I said, 17-minute segments. I want them to flesh this out and hit on like Jedi that maybe only had like a short screen time. And if I remember correctly, because I'm like episode 3, but Yaddle makes an appearance.
No way.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so like the fact that we're finally getting to see some of these Jedi that like you hear about and saw or read about, but they're fleshing the characters out more. And I'm like, finally, something for the fans.
That sounds really interesting. I'm gonna have to check that out. Although I still haven't watched like the Clone Wars and all that, so I'm not as familiar with Ahsoka. So I need to find that map that Zach always talks about. Like just watch these episodes, skip these episodes, and then you get the cool stuff. But I need to do that. So Alyssa, how about you?
I've just recently started watching an anime that came out in 2006. A lot of, the hardcore anime fans or even casual ones have already seen it. Black Lagoon. It is so awesome. It's basically, it feels like Cowboy Bebop, but not in space and also rated R. Oh. Because you can't watch this around kids. They're harsh language every episode, violence, nudity, pretty much everything you can think of in this anime, but it's such a fun time.
Stop selling it.
And I'm like, why did it take me so long to watch this? I'm only on the first season. There are 3, but like the third season's only 5 episodes long. And the first 2 are 12 episodes apiece, so it's a fairly quick watch.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm really digging it.
The Black Lagoon, you said?
Yes.
All right. I got a recommendation. I feel like most of my recommendations are books these days. CB had one last week, I believe, as well. I did not take your suggestion because I have been waiting for a book to come out, and I actually started listening to it today. It's Cliff Bleszinski's new book called Control Freak. You guys know my obsession with video game nonfiction right now is palpable, and I'm really curious about his backstory. I'm only about 5 or 6 chapters in so far because again I only started reading today or listening today, but I'm really pleased with what I'm listening to so far. He really is getting into some stuff from his past that I was not expecting to hear, especially from his childhood. Some things happened to him. Let's just say it was not expecting that from a guy that created the Gears of War series, but it's really cool hearing him just kind of doing his own thing even as a teenager. Like he just started making these little games and selling them. He's in high school and like, what do you do for fun? I make money. I make games and sell them for money. Shareware. You know what I mean? And then because I just got done recently reading Masters of Doom and Console Wars and Stay a While and Listen, the cross-pollination of some of these guys where you hear Cliff talk about, trying to get hired by Apogee and all this kind of, or not Apogee, about getting hired by Epic. When he met Tim Sweeney when Tim Sweeney was only 22, like you hear about them talking about id and all this kind of stuff, and just hearing all of these passionate game makers from different perspectives. It's almost like I'm hearing part of the same story, but from a different developer's perspective. It's a lot of fun to listen to. and I really like it. So, yeah, Cliff Bleszinski's new book. I haven't finished it, but I imagine I will have it done by the next week that we record. So, and CB, I imagine you'd like it as well, too. So,
yeah.
Well, everybody, like I said, that's going to do it. Thank you so much for listening. Would like to remind you that The Gaming Outsider is produced by Nate Lucas, and all the music you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemmage and Metroid Metal. His website is stemmagemusic.com. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Chris Behrensmeyer and Alyssa White, and we are The Gaming Outsider. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.